So this is episode 40, I believe. I just stopped counting after a while. This is episode 40. We are tapping into the Hmong football community and history as well, too. We're with the legendary head coach from the legendary team, Black Venom, and this is Sid right here. I believe Black Venom has been around since 2005. Have won 3 J4 championship, and I believe they won that last one as well, too, pre-COVID, right before COVID hit, and then I believe that year COVID was canceled, and then this past year it didn't go on as well, too. So they were the last one to win the J4 title as well. We have Sid here, man. Sid, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Thanks. I think that intro might have been a little, you set the bar too high there. I don't know about that legendary stuff, but yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Just want to give a shout out to Far East Bar and Restaurant here in St. Paul for looking out for Black Venom, and shout out to Twin Cities Sports Collectibles on Facebook. Those are my guys, and big ups to you guys. You guys are doing big things for the volleyball community, and we're glad that you guys are kind of branching out and shining some light on the Hmong flag football too. So yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you a lot. We're trying to do all we can, man. We're trying, but for sure. Big fan of Hmong flag football as well too. I know that all the athletes in Hmong flag football, man, you guys are like beasts out there, dude. It's just crazy. Because I'm looking at it, I'm looking on the side, man. I'm like, man, this is way too physical for me, man. I'm just gonna stand here. So
I think the game's a lot I won't say easier, but it's definitely not as physical as what it used to be. But
okay. Let's start with this. Has there been like rules implemented to prevent like more physical stuff, or as like the
for the most part, the rules have been the same, like generally been the same throughout time. It's just I think it's just a matter of if the refs are willing to enforce those rules, because I technically, like, every play, there's some type of rule being broken. It's a matter of if they call it or not.
Right. So in those flag football tournaments, are the refs just the players, or is it like, are there like different refs, or does it depend on the tournament?
It depends on the tournament. Usually for July 4th, the main July 4th, they have hired refs. So they hired refs that are, I think they're like high school certified refs. Yeah. And then they just kind of, they've actually, been there so long that I believe they've, pretty much learned our rule book, and, but every other tournament pretty much is just, team refs, or if not team, they might have a certain team come out and help ref. And
all right, so basically those bigger tournaments, especially the J4 form, right?
Right.
To get those refs in. I believe in Walsall this past tournament, Josh, the refs they weren't players, right? Josh, do you remember that?
They were hired, I think.
Yeah,
they were hired.
I remember seeing that as well. That's one of the bigger tournaments, so that's for sure. Let's get into it. You ready, Sid?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do this, man. Sid, how did you get started with Hmong flag football, man, or football in general? What was the journey, man? Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think ever since I was young, I've always been a fan of football, and mainly, I mean, all team sports pretty much. I love basketball too. But as far as flag football, my family, all my nephews and grandsons and cousins, and they had a team, Mid Coast, and like every person on the team was related, blood through blood, and they were a little older than myself at the time, but we had a good core of guys coming up next that were a little younger, and so we all kind of followed in their footsteps, and we just couldn't wait to go out there and play with our, brothers and cousins. And so that's how I got started with the sport playing. So that was probably like 2003, 2004 when I was like 13, 14 years old.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously football, right? Football, it takes a lot of, you can't just have like 4 guys and go play. It's not like basketball, right?
No.
So you got to have a lot of brothers, a lot of cousins and whatever, man.
Right.
Is there any, did you guys, were you guys playing like, were you guys rough with each other, man, when you guys were out there?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty rough, but I think that's because of that. Also, at that time, that era of football, it was just naturally that way.
Yeah.
And so, iron sharpens iron. So if you want to go out there and play against the best, then you have to practice that way. And, and so naturally, by default, we just play that way.
Okay. So you guys kind of push each other to kind of be better out there.
Right.
That way.
Right.
So you mentioned when you guys kind of playing with your cousin and stuff like that, did you guys ever play in like a Hmong tournament, or was it more just kind of backyard stuff?
Shoot. So even long before flag football became a July 4th sport, there were a handful of teams out there at the time that were playing tackle. They didn't. Flag football was non-existent at the time.
Right.
So this is like, I was real young, but this is like late 90s.
Okay.
And they weren't even playing 9-on-9. They were playing 11-man football with 5 actual linemen. Okay. And it was, a lot of it was all Hmong too, and some of these teams were already playing. They would, meet up, set up a date and go out and play football. And, Mid Coast was one of them. Plaza Boys was one of them.
Okay.
SOS for sure was out there, and they're, those are both, J4 champions. But yeah, even before flag football became a thing, those guys were out there playing tackle football. And
so they were out there with pads and helmets.
No pads. No pads.
Oh, no pads.
It's just street football. You meet out there, drop a field, and play football. And and that's sort of how we came to be. And then a couple years later, they finally introduced 9-man football.
Okay.
To July 4th. So and then that's when things finally started adapting to flag football.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know the history or not, but like, do you guys know when the first Hmong flag football tournament was and who started all that? I don't know if you guys know any of that.
I believe it was 2001.
Okay.
And that had like almost 40 teams.
Yeah.
And that was Shoutouts, Rebels came from Fresno and won it.
Oh yeah. Well, I heard of that team.
That's when pretty much everyone, like, no one had strategies or schemes, just playing football. But I think Rebels came up there. They actually had a system. And they actually ran the ball and just made everyone look silly. So
so that's when it first started, 2001, and then Rebels.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least in the Midwest, at least. I'm not sure how.
Actually, back in I believe, the late 80s. They've had flag football for a few years as well, because I believe.
Oh, really?
I believe some of the way OG Plaza Boys played. Were playing in that tournament, but that tradition didn't last long with the July 4th.
Right.
They finally brought it back, in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. Wow, man, I didn't even know the history. I forgot to talk about some of the history, but that it started in 2001 and it's been continuing ever since. And you're probably saying that it started in the 80s, but there's like a big break in between there, like 10-year break.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, flag football has always had issues with, specifically with the organization that hosts J4. So I know 1 year in between, like, early on, there was a break where they cut us out. They didn't even give us fields, so we didn't have a tournament. And then for many years, it was like, they were trying to weed us out because they wanted more space for soccer and just other things. They didn't give us the respect, and I think it took us a long time to finally, let them know to the elders that, hey, like, our young guys, our youth, they're actually into football.
Right.
So,
Well, what year was this? Like during this time, was it in the 90s or?
this is all throughout maybe like the whole early 2000s. You know.
Okay, so this is when you guys are trying. So you guys are like pioneers then. Like,
yeah. I mean, the guys before me. I was young
Right.
during that time, but yeah,
right.
all the elder teams that came before me.
Okay.
Yeah, they fought through obstacles to
Right.
for us to have this today.
Yeah. Wow, man. And much respect to the Hmong flag football community, man, because I know that in a team there could be up to like 30, 40, 50 people, and
Right.
I think a lot of our organizers need to respect that as well too, because you guys are bringing in a lot of revenue, dude.
Right.
I
I
mean?
think it took them a long time to finally realize that, especially during that time when we were pulling like, they were capping us at 32 teams and we would have like another 10, 15 teams on the waiting list. And they realized that, we're bringing in 40 players, you bring our significant others, our kids, and,
Man, and then they charge like per person through the door too, man. That's a lot of revenue for them. Well, let's talk about this, man. Give us the history and give us a story on how Black Venom was formed.
Yeah. So Black Venom was started with a lot of the high school guys from Harding High School back in, like 2005. There was 3 main guys, maybe 4 guys. It was Chang, Ku Tao, James, and Johnny. Those 4 guys were all class of 2005 at Harding, and they were all varsity players, and as they were graduating, flag football was starting to get popular, and they were able to assemble a bunch of their little siblings and bunch of other underclassmen at the school.
Okay.
That was like myself. I didn't play with them. I was still with my family team, but a lot of guys that were underclassmen at Harding that they picked up, and those were the pioneers of Black Venom, 2005, 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you?
I didn't. So I've always seen them come up and play with them here and there. I played whenever Midcoast wasn't playing tournaments, I would go out and play with Black Venom. Those were my boys, my high school guys. And when my family team stopped playing in 2008, like I told them, I was like, no, I'll never play for anyone outside of family, and so it wasn't until 2011, the ending of 2010, when Mikey, the quarterback for BV, it was one of my best friends, and he had just transitioned into playing quarterback. They had picked up a lot of good pieces for their future, and he was like, well, if you're not gonna come play, then come help me grow, come help our team, get better, because we got some good pieces. We just gotta get over the hump, and that's when I was like, I'll come out and see what I could do. So I didn't officially become BV until 2011.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So 2011 was now when you came on with Black Venom, did you come on? You came on as a player first, right?
No.
Or did you come on as a coach?
As a coach, a coach, but like until this day, I tell my guys all the time, like I really hate when people actually call me coach.
Okay. Why is that?
It's just because I always see myself as like equal to my players, It's like I'm a teammate. I have a different role on the team, and it's like I don't come out demanding authority or right. It's like I come out, I earn my spot, earn my respect. You trust my calls, like you trust the quarterback.
Okay.
Like I just wanted to play my part,
Okay.
And so
so when you say that you're the coach, give us a little rundown on your let's say like duties or job description, or the stuff that you're responsible for. Can you give us a little rundown of that?
I mean, my role at the time was like I came in looking to mainly emphasize on the defense, really. And I honestly it's changed throughout the years, but early on I thought it was just coming in, drawing some plays, designing some schemes, calling plays,
Yeah.
and but it's really ended up being a lot more than that. So
Okay.
yeah, at first I came in thinking I was just gonna help focus on the defense, and
Right.
I was gonna let my quarterback Mike just handle the offense because
Yeah.
that's his thing anyway. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it ended up becoming like now looking back on it, yeah, it became uh offense and defense.
Okay.
You manage the game, manage the
Mhm.
clock, you manage personnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it became more, and it wasn't just like game time stuff. It was, in
Yeah.
preparation and
Yeah.
practice, working with individuals. Like
Mhm.
it ended up being more like it was a big brother role as well,
Right.
to a lot of these younger guys too. So it
Yeah.
wasn't just X's and O's. That
Yeah.
was just like maybe 20%, 25% of it.
Well, yeah. Well, I was just saying, there's so many players on a team. Like whereas in volleyball, there's only like 6, like maybe
Right.
10 guys. Then for you got to manage like 30 to 40 guys. How do you even communicate with all these guys, like to get them all on the same page and to get them there at the tournament on time? How does
Right.
that? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky when I got there, and so they already had we had captains set up. So we had 2 offensive
Okay.
captains and 2 defensive captains, and for the most part, like
Mhm.
anything I wanted to relay out to them, I got it to my captains,
Mhm.
and then they would go and get it to their sides of the ball, and I
Okay.
think that really helped me.
Mhm.
Took a lot off my plate, off my shoulders, was
Yeah.
having those captains go out, and they would each have their own group of guys, and where they could relay that message and get everyone on the same page. So
Mm.
yeah, that helped a lot.
So
I love that, man. Just
in
delegate.
HFF, I feel like when a team brings in like a new coach, I've seen it go, it could either go good or bad. I've seen
Yeah.
the bad where the players don't buy into the new coach, and
Right.
egos come into play. Like, oh, I'm smarter than this coach. Why should I listen to him? How did you get the guys to trust you or to buy into to your system?
Yeah, I mean, no
Yes.
doubt. Like I dealt with that too coming in, because and specifically, and actually that kind of really made me want to be better for the players so they could be better. Because I remember coming in, and yeah, I mean, at the time, like I'm the same age at the time with most of the players, and then there were a handful of veterans and guys that were older than me at the time. And so at the time, I remember specifically Seth. He was one of the captains, one of the older guys on the team, and our like the first few weeks of practice, he was like, he was telling me, he was like, I'm not gonna call you coach until you prove that you're willing to sacrifice for this team like the players do, and that was real early on. And I remember that really like lit a fire, because it was like, yeah, like I came here because I want you guys to win. Like I don't care about my own legacy. I'm here to help you guys, because I want to see you guys win. And so that really made me push myself to actually learn, because you come in thinking you understand football, you know how plays work, how they develop, and that really pushed me to actually learn a lot of textbook stuff for football, really be able to teach them later on. So
and then as far as like the recruiting goal, are you in charge of that too, or is it just like if a player or someone sees someone who has talent, do they go and talk to him, or do they run it by you first, or how does that work?
To be honest, we don't really like recruit. Like a lot of times it's, especially in season, I'm against in season recruiting, or I'm against recruiting guys that are already on a team. If someone comes to us and be like, hey, it's not working out here, I'm thinking about, would I fit in with your team, your system? That's when we would consider them. Or word of mouth. If some of my players go, hey, this guy, it's not working out there, and he'd like to see if he can help fill a role here, that's when we'll look into it and be like, all right, does he fit? Like, does he mesh well with the personalities? And then can we use his abilities, his skill set? I mean, there are a few times we have gotten him recruited, which like just going out like, I mean, like I said, we're from East Side St. Paul, so most of us have come from Harding High School, and we always go back to Harding, to our roots, and recruit from there and see our young East Siders, you know. And so, yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Like I said, we don't necessarily really go out there and recruit. It's hard. It's hard because I think guys understand that you come here, you kind of have to take a step back to learn, and we're always stacked with, you know, guys we're developing, and so it's a deep roster as well. So a lot of guys would almost rather go somewhere else to get playing time than to really come here and develop with us.
Okay. So how deep are you guys, like per tournament? Let's say you guys go to a tournament. How deep does Black Venom usually roll? Like,
I think we're about average with every other team. I'd say like the deepest we've been was like I'd say like pushing like 50, but that was like that's probably like, you know, 8, 9 years ago. Now I'd say you're more, the average is about 30 to 35 guys.
Okay.
But you know, of those, I always tell my guys, like, if of the, let's say 35 guys, you have 18 starters, you might have 10 reserves. So that leaves about another maybe 10 guys on the bench that are buried on the roster. So they gotta they gotta contribute in other ways, whether it's like special teams or through practice. Well, some guys just, they practice, they don't get any playing time, but their job is to, you know, bust the starters' butts at practice to make them better. You know, that's how they contribute. It might be through practice. So
every team needs those guys. Those guys are more important than, you know, most people think. So
yeah, I agree 100%. So those,
and they have to learn the plays too, right? Because they're trying to run the offense, and your starters are trying to stop those plays as well too. So
yeah, of course. And it's just that, because I think when you're practicing, you're scrimmaging, you're putting starters versus starters, I think they start to like understand each other's tendencies. It becomes lenient and a little more relaxed. Yeah. So when you get some guys that are clawing to earn some respect, you know, they are willing to go 110% of practice. They're gonna push those starters to be like, hey, I can't slack off. I gotta, like, this guy's trying to earn a spot. I gotta give him his reps. I gotta, you know, keep it honest. So you know, everyone ends up pushing each other and making each other better. So yeah, everyone contributes in different ways.
Awesome, man. You mentioned a lot about Harding High School, right?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of Hmong kids that play football, or they're just?
Oh, these days, yes. I mean, all of the inner city in St. Paul. I think there's a lot of Hmong kids in athletics these days. Back then, like I said, there weren't many. So whoever you found that, you know, was, you know, they understood football, you just kind of pulled them in. But now I think it's pretty common now. So
well, that's good, man. I think you guys kind of pioneer that as well too. I guess from what you're saying, Harding is like a hotbed, right, for like the Hmong talent, right?
I wouldn't say that either. Oh, okay. It's just where we go.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of like your hood, and that's where that's where we're going.
Just our rules. And you know, I mean, on the east side, there's 2 major high schools. It's Harding, and our rival is Johnson. Okay. But we actually end up pulling a lot of Johnson guys in too, just because, you know, it's local guys. They same personalities. We all kind of grew up similarly, you know, and so we kind of know each other. So we just kind of pull each other in.
Okay. How active are you guys with like roster moves and stuff during like the off season, or is it like pretty much set? And then, you know, is it just based off of needs, or how's the off season like?
Like for the most part, like we just develop within who we got. Like it's actually, you know, kind of rare for us to actually bring in like more than 5 new guys a year because it's just tough to do that. So we been fortunate that we find some young guys. We kind of groom them and raise them up, and hopefully within 2 or 3 years, they can start to fight for a starting spot. And by then, they've got everything down as far as the mental aspect. And it's just that those 3 years you work on their fundamentals and their physicals.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's awesome. That's very promising to hear, man. Just some homegrown Black Venom kids, man. That's all it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, and truth be told, I tell these guys all the time, especially the last, I'd say like 5-6 years here, or pretty much the second generation of Black Venom.
Yeah.
Like I tell them all the time, like this is my motto is, you know what, Black Venom, most of these guys did not start with Black Venom, but Black Venom became their home. And it was the same with me. I didn't start with Black Venom, but it became my home because a lot of these guys were either castaways, they weren't good enough, they weren't groomed to reach their potential. And so they opted to go in a different direction. We pulled them in and we kind of developed them, and a lot of I'd say like 80% of our roster is like that. They played somewhere else before, it didn't work out. And we ended up picking them up and, molding them into, our pieces, our system. And that's usually what it is. But a lot of these guys are just guys who needed different structure. That's all it was.
When you guys develop players, do you try to like play to their strengths, or do you try to mold them into your system, or is it like a combination of both?
I mean, it's always a combination of both, but I think our system is very specific to your abilities as well. So like someone who might be an elite receiver anywhere, when he comes to our receiver position group, we have pretty much 3 different position or receiver positions, and they're all they're all like, it's precise, like the type of speed you have, your abilities, your range, whether we want a possession guy or a stretch, a deep guy, like it's very specific. So you can go, one guy might go anywhere, play any position, be great. When you're here with us, we just want you to be great at the one position, the one thing we want you to be great at,
Get the best out of them. Like.
Right. So it's you gotta groom them to fit what you want to. So,
Sid, how have you guys been able to like retain your players, man, from like hopping from other team? How have you guys been able to keep your players on, man? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if, I think it's just the culture. I think guys who stay around, they want to stay for the culture. Like it's the people, the environment. And then of course there's always a chance, like we've been fortunate. So there's a chance of, success and winning. But like I said, on the other spectrum, we've had plenty of guys who were elite potential, but came here and be like, you know what, I don't want to be molded into a system or a position when I could go over here and play every snap, play both sides of the ball. I could get the ball thrown at me 10 times a game. Right. So it's like, you want to keep guys here, but you want to keep the guys that want to be here.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, it's hard. You'll have guys that want to go, they have different agenda, different ambitions. Yeah. But for the most part, you want to keep the guys that want to stay for the culture, win or lose. They want to be here because they enjoy our style. They enjoy our camaraderie, our bond. It's and that, those are the guys that you don't really have to like go out and pitch for them to stay. They're gonna stay because they want to stay.
For sure. Yeah. I know that with every great dynasty or team, there's some turmoil too, right? There's always, there's gonna be some turmoil behind the stage per se. How has Black Venom gotten over that? Do you, when you speak, does everyone just kind of okay, fine, we're gonna let it drop and it's about the team, or how do you guys get over some of those turmoils and arguments and misunderstandings.
I mean, there's always going to be issues, especially when it's grown men, you know, and guys just want to win. So it's easy for those issues to come up when you know, when you're not doing well or you're not doing as good as you should be doing. But at the end of the day, like I do my very best to, when it comes to those issues, I have to look at it as from a actual coach to player relationship. And not like, hey, I'm your big brother, I'm your friend or whatever.
Right.
And I have to, you know, separate that and be like, hey, I did this decision is best because it benefits the team as in totality, as a whole. You know, and if it's best for the team, it benefits the team, then we have to go in that direction. Like, you know, like if a guy is complaining about playing time, it's like, hey, like, and I'll be specific. I'll tell him, hey, you didn't get to play because, you know, I saw this. Maybe I felt like I needed more speed or I needed more strength. And that's why I opted to go in a different direction. And, you know, it's like if guys with that information, if they still want to be upset about it, that could be more of a greed thing. We're like, hey, you know, more selfish than anything. But in the end, like I said, I had to view it as, you know, player-coach relationship, like what's best for this team. And that's, in the end, that's all, that's what should matter above all.
For sure, man. I think if you hold that standard, you know, no matter what's going on, if it's best for the team, then I guess everyone can move on from that, man. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man. Being a coach, you gotta juggle all these personalities, man. I mean, like you said, it's not. Some of them are still kids in high school. Some of them are grown men too. So you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the toughest thing is, like I said, it's being able to manage those emotions. Like I can manage the game. Managing the game is easy, but it's how you manage those emotions behind those players. So that's very tough.
For sure, man. I mean, you're talking about, you know, if you have 40 players on your roster, when you're talking about 40 individuals, 40 different circumstances, and you know, so that's crazy right there, man. Mad props to you and Black Venom, man. So do you coach outside of Hmong Football? You do any coaching at all?
I do not, and I really have zero like aspirations to do so.
That looks like a coach's office, though.
This?
No,
this is just my little
thing. Trophy room.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't mind, some of those trophies right there, man. What are some of those trophies right behind you to your, I believe, right shoulder? I believe.
I've only got a few. So I don't even know where the rest of them are, to be honest. But I got one from Wasso. I think this little one here is from Wasso. That was the first year of Wasso. The tall one back here is July 4th. I think this might have been the 2019 J4. It's the taller one. I got some medals from Wasso. And up there, that one's pretty cool. The one up there is it's the in 2019. So we there's a group of guys that they're called Icheneng, and they've been like hosting tournaments lately around for Minnesota here, and they had some sponsorship with one of their State Farm guys, and he did he offered this trophy, this cup. So what it was whoever, so you get points for playing a tournament. You might get 1 point for entering a tournament, 10 points for winning first, 5 points for winning second, 3 points for winning third place, whatever. And so at the end of the season, whoever had the most points will win that cup and another prize. And fortunate for us that year, we actually won. We took first in all the tournaments. And so that was that trophy was the season. So it was a State Farm Cup. So that was pretty cool.
Okay. Man, lots of winning, man. How do you guys go about like delegating the trophies? Like, how do you guys go about like, okay, you guys, we're gonna give the trophy to this person right here, or is there a way that you guys do it?
Not really. I think I don't even know, to be honest. Sometimes we just kind of hand them out and be like, hey, take the trophy. Like, yeah, like a few of these I took, but I mean, some of these they took and they brought it back somewhere, and I just got my hands on it. But for a long time, I don't know. I don't really know like where the trophies are. Like seriously, right now, I don't know where these trophies are. It might be scattered. Sometimes, like if we have a tournament MVP or something, we'll just give the guy a trophy.
Yeah.
And like, hey, take it for now. Whenever someone wants it, we'll just come grab it from here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's ask this, man. How would you describe your coaching style? I mean, you know, how do you get players to buy into your system, the Black Venom system, man?
Yeah, my coaching style, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, there's a lot of like different offensive systems that I read into and I studied that I really liked, and I kind of took I just kind of blended whatever like philosophies that I liked, and just try to implement that into our play selections, you know. But there's not like any one specific. Like we are a high like up tempo, like, you know, we want to keep your backs like against the wall. We want to go fast pace, but we also like, I like giving a lot of, especially in the passing game, I like giving them a lot of freedom. So your route is not, however it's drawn up, it's designed. That's in theory of it's designed that way in a theory, but based on your defender, like if his leverage, if he's taking inside shade of you, if he's if his drop is deeper than, or his, you know, if he's sitting 10, 12 yards off you, your route, your break, it might change. And so I give a lot of guys their freedom, the option to find open areas of the field, especially if you know it's zone defense. Yeah, you just find open area, and the quarterback has to be trained to understand that as well. So it doesn't matter what we draw. It's about what you see, what you know is on the field, what's going to happen. So so we actually end up with a lot of option routes, and it's not designed. It's just, you have to understand, if you're running a post, but you know this like this linebacker is in that window, you're now running a curl.
Yeah,
you know, it's like different things like that. And, you know, guys have to. That's why it takes a long time for all these receivers to be like, hey, we want to play for Black Venom because you guys throw, you guys, you know, it's like a air raid, run and shoot. We want to play for you guys, but they come here and it's like, hey, man, like you gotta understand, you're gonna have to. You might take a whole season to learn, you know, to actually know that, to be on the same page as our quarterbacks, you know. And so, I mean, that's you know, that's our passing schemes. I like to give guys freedom. So I don't know if other teams are doing that. I mean, when I first came in, like the game was still heavy run under center, you know, tosses, run up the gut, and I actually came in knowing right away that I kind of wanted to move away from that, because I wanted to come in I came in thinking a short passing game is as good as a great running game. So that was my theory coming in, and honestly, I came in at the time, a lot of my play designs were to attack cover 2 defenses, because that's what a lot of teams were playing at the time. But I think within a couple of years,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but for those people who may not understand what a cover 2 is, could you explain how it looks like?
So it's a 2 shell. So there's 2 safeties, there's 2 players at the defending anything deep. Like if you're gonna throw anything over 25, 30 yards, there's 2 guys, one at each half of the field. So that's your cover 2. And so when I came in, my theory was, hey, I'm gonna attack these windows, these open areas of the field, knowing that they're gonna play cover 2. But I think when our first couple years in, our system was our offense progressed really fast. And I think by then most defenses, to counter what we were doing, we're switching over into cover 3 now, which is now, instead of having 2 guys playing deep halves of the field, there's the one safety now. He plays the middle third of the field, and the two corners on the edges playing the receivers are now playing each side playing the sideline. So there's thirds of the field, and so I think it changed. So because those defense kind of changed, then I kind of we kind of had to revamp our offenses to counter that specific type of coverage now too. And so the game has changed, and a lot of that is just we kind of have to change with it, And I feel like I feel like we were all like usually ahead of the curve as far as of that.
Yeah, I could agree. I think you guys were like really innovative. Like like you said, one of the first teams to do different stuff, even on defense. In the past, 5-6 years, I've seen stuff from you guys that I'm like, whoa, that's I don't see that from any other team. So that's props to you and to Black Venom. So
I mean, some of that's schemes and strategy, but that's also part of hey, this is who I'm dealing with. Like if this is who I have on defense. I obviously can't do certain like things I want in the past. So I have to, come up with new things to get the best out of them, Like you always like my thing is if I know where I'm weak, I'm gonna have to design something to mask that, to cover up for where I'm weak, And so
you guys have one of the smallest D lines out there.
Yeah.
But the things you guys do, you get the best out of those guys, like all those stunts and
you
guys mix it up.
Right, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we're smaller, knowing we're smaller, then we have to do certain things schematically to get them in the best positions to succeed. And so I mean, it wasn't by design. Like a lot of those guys weren't even defensive line. They ended up, we converted them over, kind of groomed them into that position, and then that was
What would you say be that one play that you guys always run on a cover three that always works, man? You guys have that one, or like the way the receiver will run, or however?
I wouldn't even call it a play, because honestly, like football, it doesn't matter any level, whether it's like high school, college, NFL, even with flag football, it's not so much a play. It's about concept. So what's the concept behind that play? And I mean, everyone knows there's a few concepts out there. It's just a matter of how you dress it up. Like easily we could run one same concept. We actually do have one concept. We'll run it out of maybe 8 different formations. So you think it's 8 different plays. I mean, technically it's 8 different plays, but it's all one concept, and that concept is designed to beat that specific coverage. So it's recycled. A lot of plays are, especially concepts, are just recycled concepts.
Like you just dress it up differently, so they don't catch it.
Because if you're playing man, or you're playing zone, you're not trying to beat any man on defense. You're just trying to get to a certain spot on the field. So you're just trying to, you're throwing to grass. You're not throwing to a man. And so guys, the receivers just got to beat it. So sorry, I didn't really answer your question.
So basically, some of the plays. No, but I hear you, man. You gotta just still active, man. You don't want to give out all your secrets, dude. But so you're basically you're saying, can you explain concept for all the casual viewers out there? What do you mean by concept?
All right, so I mean, it's just some football terminology. And it's just a package. It's a package of routes. Like, so let's say there's let's say you're going trips right, 3 receivers on one side of the field. Like like there's like, for example, one is like verticals. And verticals is just 3 guys. One guy's gonna cross, one guy's gonna run out the seam, one guy's gonna take down the sideline. And so that's a vertical concept, and it's just designed to be a lot of coverages. But you can run that out of many different looks. You can motion a guy over. There's many things you can do. You can have them switch routes. They can run the same route, but they're just gonna start a different area on the field pre-snap.
Gotcha.
And then there's so many. There's like a smash. So a smash is like usually like a 2 receiver set. It could be 3 receiver set. But one is just it's spacing. One guy just takes a deep route corner, like maybe 20, 25 yards to the sideline. One guy just takes a 5-yard out. So intermediate. So then if it's zone, for example, if you're playing zone, you're playing cover 2, you run smash. One guy's running a deep corner, one guy's running a out. You just, instead of reading your man, you can now read the corner. He's your key. So if the corner drops off to defend the corner route, you throw the out. If the corner sits on that out route, you just throw the corner, over him.
Right.
So those are concepts.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, and there's so many different concepts.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's good information for all the young folks out there, man. So basically, it's just trying to like break the defense, and it's just trying to read the defense. Okay, if you're running that one, if they're covering it like that, you see it right away. Okay, that's how they're covering. Then the quarterback makes a read.
So for a lot of these young teams that are trying to get into like scheming and designing offenses, study your concepts, because certain concepts will always beat certain coverages, certain zones. Certain concepts beat man coverage. So you just have to understand, hey, what are we playing against? What do we want to attack? If we want to attack this area of the field, we're gonna run these concepts, and it's recycled. You'll see a lot of pros and guys. Everyone runs it. It's just a matter of how you execute it. And
I think you just choose like a zone defender, and your route combination. You put him in like a dilemma where he has to choose, who he wants to cover, and then the guy that he doesn't choose is going to be open. So I think that's what, at least for zone, that's how it is. So.
Yeah, and you would know because Isaac is varsity quarterback. Isaac runs a really like pro style offense. He runs a lot of pro sets and runs a lot of pro concepts. So I see it all the time with
Yeah, man, you've been there, done that, man. I think you know more football than probably some of the kids here forgot, man. That's for sure.
It wasn't like that, I learned like I said, I came in thinking I only had to do this, but when you deal with some losses, then I really pushed myself because at the time offensively, I was relying on my quarterback Mike. He taught me everything I knew about offense, and I was relying on him to kind of carry me, with the X's and O's on offense. But when I realized, I really got to change up this offense more, then I really put the time into really kind of, learn everything, and so I could help him and retool this offense too. So
So I was gonna ask you about the knowledge. Like, was it just through learning and researching, or did you play like in high school or anything too?
I didn't play, but I've always been, even when I was young, I've always been obsessed with, I enjoyed the anatomy of the play. Like, I like to see why it works. Like when I was younger, for example, I would take a toy apart, right, to see all the pieces and then try to put it back together, right? And that's kind of how I watch football. Like sometimes I can't enjoy football because I like to see everything be like, I'd like to be like, all right, if this let's say if this guard had his hand on the guy's shoulder, or he could have made that block, or I'd be like, if this receiver broke his route 2 yards shy of where he was supposed to be, the ball would have been perfect. Like, he would have caught the ball. Like, I like to see why things work and why they didn't work.
You're just like me, dude. I'm a huge details and like
right. Like I said, I like the anatomy. Like, I like when seeing like a beautifully executed play come to fruition. Like when you see that, it's like that's that's what I enjoy. And so to really learn more about that, I kind of had to learn more about just not just games but specific positions, so I would be able to teach them, because I didn't know anything about teaching offensive linemen. I thought it was just, hey, you just block him. But there's different types of blocks. There's hand placement, where you got how you move your feet, your landmarks, like it changes, like it becomes a lot deeper than what you think.
Yeah, technique is so important on the line. So
yeah, technique and fundamentals, and at the end of the day, like that's gonna win you in your games.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. Well, I want to ask you this, man. What do you think, or what do you believe is the key to getting the best out of every player, man?
That's tough. I think it's the trust, like, but that starts with before even, like, for me, it's not just, like I said, not just the coach player relationship. Like, you want to be able to know the person before you know the athlete, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you can connect with him on that, the human element of it, if you connect with them on that level, then the transition to being player coach becomes easier, because you already have that base, that foundation set. So now that he understands that, hey, this guy wants me to be the best me, even off the field, then he'll buy into me, teaching him on the field, like, hey, I want you to be a great student. Like, if someone, they know that I want them to be a great student, at school, they're going to trust me, like, and know that I want them to be a great athlete. So when I tell them something on the field, like, hey, you're doing this wrong, I want you to do it this way, they're going to buy into that. And so, that's my style. Some people, some guys they're about tough love, and they're about, hey, I'm just going to yell at you. You mess up, you're not going to play. Yeah. But I think coming up how I came up, I kind of went that way, where it's like, hey, like, I need to know the player before, or I need to know the person before the player. And so that is the foundation of how to be able to, talk with someone and communicate and grow.
Have you ever had to choose someone out? Just messing up? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, honestly, I don't remember. I've had, I don't do it intentionally, like, to, like, make an example out of people. But I've had to, I've had to, like, raise my voice a couple of times, but that was more so because it's someone who was better than that. Like, they know better, and they went and did either something selfish or something that wasn't best for the team. They weren't looking for the best interest of the team. They were looking out for themselves. They tried to do something, on their own agenda. And that's when I have to step in, like, if someone goes out there, dumb penalty, or I yelled at my quarterback one time. We had the game in hand, and hey, I said, go out there, let's run this clock out. He went out there, changed the play call, try to throw a deep ball, got picked off. And I'm like, hey, we had a game won. Like, why do we need to chase more points? Why be greedy? Why risk injury? And he apologized, said, my bad. It's like, I just thought I could get one more in, and but that's when you discuss that, whether you have an altercation or not. Afterwards, as long as you discuss it and go over it and be like, hey, so they understand where you're coming from, and they understand that what they did was not best for the team, then they'll own it. They'll own that mistake, and you move on. You can't just argue, yell at it, and then walk away. You come back to it, patch it up, say what needs to be said, and then you move on.
For sure, man. For sure. Let's do this. Let's go to the board right here, see what people are saying, answer some of these questions right here.
I've been watching it.
And then we'll come back to our questions right here. So let's take a comment. How about this one right here by Michael Johnson? Explain the pact and promise we made in high school. What's up? Say, elaborate on that, please.
That's my quarterback, Mikey. That's my quarterback. So our senior year, high school, 2006. That's when the high school flag football, they started running these tournaments. And Mike and I started a team of all our hurling kids. Like, we would stay after school in class, draw on the board, and have guys, write in their notebooks. And, Mike and I, we went through a lot to put that team together. And
Yeah.
We never thought we were good enough, but sure enough, we go to this
Right.
tournament. We go to the tournament and we shut everybody out. We end up winning. Like teams we thought were bigger, badder than us, we went out there and like just humiliated them. And so, after we won, it was like one of those nights where he and I went. I don't know what we were doing. We were on a mission. One of those late nights. I think we were driving up to somewhere to turn in some registration forms, and it was late at night on a school night or something. And we had this talk, and he and I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if, maybe someday, like, to have that feeling of winning that tournament, like if we could do it at J4. And, we were like 17, 18 at the time having that talk. And it was like, yeah, it'd be cool, man. Maybe someday we'll be able to work together. Because at the time, that was just a high school team. But in the men's league, we were playing on different teams.
Yeah.
And we're just reminiscing and, just saying like, yeah, it'd be cool. Maybe someday we'll be able to get that feeling again at J4. And it took us exactly 6 years later. So we had that talk in 2006. And then we actually got to win it together. And Mike was the main reason why I went to Black Venom. So we got to, we actually got
So he was already there.
Yeah. Yep. So we actually got to, see that through. So.
Oh man, that makes the victory even more sweeter when you guys first won that then.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you guys have been through.
Yeah. And I just, it was a long time coming, and and so you asked earlier about if I coach outside of BV, and I said no, because the reason why I say no is because the only reason why I came to BV was, those were my boys at the time. I came up with them, and they put in a lot of work, and they had never won, and I wanted to come help them. That was the only reason why I ever started this. And so that's really why, like, I don't have any other aspirations beyond that. It's because I came for them. They were the reason. So
did you ever think you were gonna be this successful? Like, did it kind of just take off? And did you ever imagine all this, man?
No. Like, 'cause honestly, at the time, our only goal was one J4. Let's go win one J4. Like. We didn't. I never thought of anything outside of that. It was just about, hey, let's just work hard throughout the winter, so we can go, get out this July 4th that we wanted, and I mean, I knew the potential. I was aware of the potential we had, but I never set out goals and be like, hey, we got to win this tournament. It's like, no, I was just, hey, let's go win this July 4th, and then one tournament at a time, whatever's next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you realize that, wow, like Black Venom, man, we're pretty good? When did you realize that?
I mean, so our first year, there were a few moments. Our first year, I think our second major tournament, it was Memorial Weekend, and when we beat Plaza Boys, and that was Plaza Boys. They were the year before they had won their July 4th. They were a little older now, but they were still the best team there, and we beat them in the finals. So that was one of those moments. I was like, oh yeah, like shoot, like we're good enough, like we're here too, like. And we've been lost the July 4th a month later, but then at Labor Day in Green Bay, when we got to beat Plaza Boys again and then beat Lights Out. Once we beat Lights Out, I was like, shoot, so like this is just the surface, because this is us winning those games off just our talent, and we hadn't even really got deep into schemes and X's and O's yet. So that's when I knew, I was like, shoot, if I get my stuff together and I can make things easier for offense and defense, then we can be even better. So that's when we started grinding. And
as a spectator in 2011, I saw that Lights Out game when you guys beat them. Like, as a spectator point of view, I'd say like that put you guys on the map. Like Like I definitely knew who you guys were then. So
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we were pretty young then. I mean, like I think for the most part, the average age was like between 20 to 23. So it was just our time, right timing for us. Lights Out was a little older at the time, but it was just that's just kind of how it falls, you know. We just kind of hit that time, and it was just our time.
Yeah, sure, man. Let's see some of the questions right here. Michael says, system demands skill set. Yes, Sid, go to sleep. Sid, that's what they say, man. How about this one, man? How do you guys prepare for your tournaments? Do you guys watch films from your previous matchups, or do you scout the day of? This is from Mungie.
Both. As far as preparing, so usually if we have the schedule ahead of time, like we already know who we're playing first day. Yeah, well, you know, cut up some film, watch some film, and be like, all right, so just knowing what they're good at, what they're not as good at, like strength and weakness. And then from strength and weaknesses to like maybe some schemes, like what do they like to do? Are they a run team? Do they like screens? You know, what kind of concepts they might like to throw. And then from them, from there you go to personnel. All right, so which of the, you know, their players, where they're better players at, what can we do to match up with that? Do I need to move guys around different positions? And then on the day of, the scouting, I usually, you know, I try to do the scouting. I follow the bracket. I try to kind of see who we're likely to see, what teams are doing well. I'll kind of go out there, just kind of watch same thing, just to see, you know, personnel and schemes and, you know, with strength and weaknesses. Yeah, I do a little bit of studying.
Okay, so you go and probably go watch their games, see how they're running it.
If I can, if I have time to, I always try to make time for it.
Okay. Michael said, ask Sid to explain the Lights Out matchup during Labor Day. What's going on with Lights Out during Labor Day?
I don't know what.
And then what year was this?
This was 2011. So this is the one.
Okay.
This was we had just lost July 4th. But we lost in a bad manner. We lost on a Hail Mary play. You
guys lost to Lights Out, correct?
Nope, we lost to Aftermath in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Aftermath's from Kansas City, from Kansas, and we lost in a bad manner. It was like a 70-yard Hail Mary at last play of the game, and a lot of it was my fault.
Oh shoot!
Because I didn't manage the clock well, and I called a play for that I shouldn't have called in that situation, and it came back to bite us. But we thought we were good enough to win July 4th that year. So when we lost in that manner, you know, we were pretty mad, pretty upset going into that. And so going into Labor Day, we knew Lights Out was going to be there. And I think we had some guys there the week before or earlier in the week in Green Bay already. And some of the guys, they actually got in town, and they actually ran into some of the Lights Out guys at the bar. And there might have been like some altercation, some words exchanged, where I don't think I think BV might have felt like there was, you know, a little lack of respect. And so we went hungry, like we went, you know, knowing that it was a double elimination tournament, which you don't see too often anymore. But it was a true King of the Hill double elimination. So we knew that if we won out Saturday, we don't have to show up until semifinals on Sunday. And so that was our goal. It's like, hey, we knew we were gonna run to Lights Out eventually. And so they called back home. I was still Thursday night. I was still back in St. Paul here. They called and they were like, man, like, you know, you gotta prep. You got to get us ready. Like, we need to be ready for Lights Out and all this. So I went to work, like, study a lot of their plays, had a whole thing, draw a lot of their formations and some of their, you know, concepts and what we could do, design some specific defenses to kind of limit what could happen out of that formation. And we kind of just studied their linemen, the way they block, how they block, the way they move second level, their defensive line, and kind of went to work. And then for the most part, like we were very prepared for a lot of what they had coming. I mean, it was still a tight game. I thought could have won that game still, but I think they won it on their skill set. But when it came to actual, like, you know, we were very prepared for a lot of the things, you know, like it was coming. And yeah, we just were very hungry and putting in the work, and it was back and forth. And we got a late pick. We got a late interception for a touchdown in the game to kind of put it away, but it was a hell of a game. Yeah, that, like I said, that kind of put us on the map.
Okay, but was there a lot of celebration going on afterwards, man?
Yes, but at the same time, it was first day. You know, I had to kind of bring them back down to earth and be like, hey, like today means nothing if we don't win tomorrow.
Right.
So let's go. You know, let's try to stay humble, keep it composed. Yeah. But it's tough because I mean it's hard. Like that's a legendary team, and you know a lot of our guys at the time, that was who they wanted to play against. That was their rivals. I mean, not the rivals, they're the idols. Like they want to play against them, and so it was tough to kind of stay composed, but they did.
Well, I'm glad you all stay focused, man, because I believe you guys are pretty young then too, and lacking maybe like their tournament experience. So that's probably like the first time some of the kids been through that.
I wouldn't say we lacked. We were like young, but we, for the most part, we had been together since we were about 16, 17. So, and before that, this was almost the start of the next generation already. Before that, they were already playing against these old legendary teams like IDK, Plaza Boys, and X-Cons, and so forth. Yeah. And so they had already played those physical teams when those teams were like late 20s, early 30s, and BB was teenagers. They were already playing them. So when when BB hit about 21, 22, I'd say they were very experienced and ready for that. Yeah, and the thing was like we, you know, I think Mike said in the comments, we studied all night, you know, film session. We, you know, just put in that work in overtime, you know, to how much do you want it? You got to put in the work.
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit about those film studies? How are those organized, and how many people are there, and you separated offense and defense? How are those ran?
I mean, so for like in season stuff, we'll have like, you know, specific offense and defense, you know, everyone just show up and you just break down whether it's a specific game or whatever, but you break it down and you just kind of go over usually myself, or this year who is coaching this year, he'll have something prepared already. Maybe he'll already watch it through, take notes, and then come film session, he'll point it out. You know, hey, this play we call this coverage, but you were here when you should have been here, or hey, you had a receiver here, you should have been. You know, they'll break it down that way. Yeah. We also have big film sessions. You know, even like at tournaments, especially on the road. After the first night, we'll all just have the whole team jump into one of the hotel rooms, and we'll break it down together. See where everyone messes up. You know, fix what we can, clean it up. Because the main thing is, I tell guys, is you don't want to repeat the same mistakes, right? If you make a mistake, that's fine, but you have to learn from it. But if you're repeating mistakes, then we're gonna have to replace you. So that's the difference. And that's
okay. I know those film sessions, man. Have you ever seen anything on film that was like, wow, this kid is super athletic. I can't believe he made that play, man. Have you ever seen anything sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you see that all the time. Like that's just, you know, looking for highlights. What what's more rare and what I try to look for is sometimes you watch a game, or there's a game when like there's nothing really happens, but when you go back on film and you see it and you're like, oh man, he really like stood out. Sometimes like I tell guys, like guys make impact their impact on a game without it having like being
Yeah.
on like without the stats, like especially for
Right.
linemen, like
Mhm.
this guy might have this one defensive end might get 5 sacks, this
Mhm.
corner might get 3 interceptions, but
Mhm.
it's the one guy that gets no sacks that's disrupting every play. Like he's the one that stands out to me, not the guy
Mhm.
getting the
For
highlight,
sure.
but it's why they
Yeah.
get the highlight. It's because someone else
Yeah.
is doing the dirty work for him. And so that's what I look for. Is like who's the guy. I'm not looking for the guy making an easy interception. I'm looking for the guy that's
Mhm.
forcing the interception.
Right.
So
Man,
that's
perfectly said right there, man.
Right.
Perfectly said. And I think sometimes when you guys create plays on defense or offense, you guys specifically need these guys to cause havoc in order for other guys to go in too, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So,
everything happens, for a reason. You complement each other.
Yeah.
Like
for sure, man. Let's see what we have here. Johnny says, "Are you guys recruiting?" I think we already kind of explained that they don't recruit; they
I think-
grow. They're homegrown.
I think Johnny's just trolling. That's one of our. That's Johnny. Johnny's one of the original guys that started Black Venom.
Okay, he probably wants to make a comeback.
Yeah. Oh, we don't let him leave anyway. So
Let's see this last one here. You guys have done a few breakdowns of the tournament this year, but they were just men's. Do you plan on doing it again with the men's and women's team next year?
he's talking about YouTube videos.
Probably. I'm thinking. You guys broke down a lot of the men's game.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
asking if you guys are gonna break down some of the ladies as well too.
I don't think personally I will
Mhm.
because, man, honestly,
I don't think you have the time.
In my opinion,
Mhm.
the men and the women's game, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Like it's different play styles, different types of athletes. It's like I don't know anything about women's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't know
Mhm.
whether they throw 50% of the time or whatnot, or I don't know anything about it. So I would have to invest some time to really
Right.
pick that up.
All right. And then Isaac here asked difference between old school HFF and new school. And now, what would you say, Sid?
Is that the game in general or BV? I'm assuming.
Yeah, let's say the game in general, Hmong football in general, Hmong flag football in general.
The game in general was, I mean, like I said, it's about physical run game.
Yeah.
It's about size. It wasn't as much built around the schematics, like drawing, like designing certain concepts or plays. It helped. That helped back then, but in the end, it didn't mean anything if you didn't have the size to compete, or if you didn't have the run game to move the chains. Because back then, everyone was stout. Every team was stout on defense. Everyone had size. Everyone was strong. Like it was smash mouth. Today, it's, I mean, of course, size still matters, but now I think the game is so much more equal. Like as far as like just players, like 90% of the players today are at least average, and then you have to find that 10% of guys that are well above average, like great players, elite players. So everyone is good. So it's a matter of now of how you get the best out of your offense, and that's where scheming comes in, and execution and learning. That's where it matters now in this age. So yeah, I think schematics are a lot more important these days than it was then. But it's just different eras. Like schematics didn't mean as much back then, but it does now. Yeah, that's like I said, personnel, the players, the bodies have changed. Back then, we didn't have any 6-foot Hmong kids.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Now you have, now the average Hmong kid is like 5'8", 5'9", so
sure,
you
man.
you kind of adapt to that too.
For sure. Let's go with one more, and then we'll take it back to the question, and then we'll definitely come back to the board as well too. We have Mike here asking, what's your most memorable moment and why?
Ooh, man, there's so many of those.
Maybe your most memorable win as a coach. One that you were like, man, this is one that defines me. This is the one right here.
Right. I mean, again, with that, there's so many. Like the lights out win was easily like in the top 3. The very first July 4th, that we won in 2012. That one was, I mean, I don't know if anything can top that, because that was the goal, the dream we set out when we were, kids, 14, 15, playing football. And to get that, like, to kind of achieve that was the ultimate dream, for flag football for us. So, winning that first July 4th.
Did you guys run the table in 2012? Like, you guys just went undefeated the whole tournament in J4?
Let's see, 2012, we won every tournament. I think we might have lost a game somewhere in there though. But we did end up winning every tournament.
All like the major ones, right? The Labor Days,
all the major, and probably even the smaller ones, I think. I think we did. Yeah, we did. 2012 and 2014. And 2019.
Yeah. Wow.
I think.
That's pure domination right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate,
Yeah, that's for sure, man. Let's draw it back here, man. Let's go back to.
I was gonna ask.
Right here.
So after 2012, what kind of happened in the 2013 season? Was it kind of like a championship hangover, or?
Yeah, I mean that's the tough thing. That's why I give Demons so much respect, is that they were able to come back and three-peat actually. But for us, it's like it was tough for us. It's not because we didn't work hard enough, but after winning it, we didn't go the extra mile that we used to, or we didn't like demand that out of each other. Because when we were losing, we were pushing each other, like it would get to the point where we were almost arguing, yelling at each other, like, because we want each other to be great. But after winning, I think you kind of, you have work to do, but you're more lenient. You're not pushing others as hard as you used to be. And sometimes your head's a little too big. You got a little ego, but just it's tough to repeat. And I don't think we didn't work hard enough. We lost in a bad manner too. We lost in a game in which we should not have lost at all. And so that was but then losing in 2013 brought us back to that grind, which led to 2014 sweeping that year too. So
and then after 2014, that's when some of the older guys retired or kind of stepped away, right?
Yeah, they started making their way out then, because we had already recruited a handful of younger guys that were eventually gonna possibly take over. And so they were starting to give up more of their reps, and they've accepted their role that, hey, we're good now. We're gonna walk away soon. We're gonna let these guys come in. And so, that was that phase.
So 2015, would you say, is like when that rebuild started happening?
Yes, it started by default, because after that year, like I said, we took another bad loss, and then guys were just like, all right, I'm done. Let these new guys come in. So by default, we had no choice but to kind of start over.
Okay.
And
that's kind of when Demons started taking over too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it's all about timing, and that's what it was with them. Our guys were like, when we beat Lights Out, it was timing. They were a little at the end of their career, and we were just hitting our prime. And then when we started getting to that age where guys were starting to get beaten down, Demons hit their age, their prime, and it was just good timing, great timing. That's just how it works. But we started our transition, and it was tough, but we got back there.
Now you guys made it back to J4 finals 2016, right?
16, 17. Yeah, we've actually been to the finals the last 4 years. 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yep. Okay. Now in 2016,
Four consecutive.
Yeah.
2016 was it more of the new generation or kind of like a mix?
It was a mix.
Okay.
Mikey was throwing, but some of the other guys were kind of like part-time. They would come to help when we need. So like a few guys were, and then we have already started. We've lost some of the linemen, the old veteran linemen, but we had the young kids in there. We had some new receivers coming in already getting time too, and so it was starting to blend both the generations, I guess.
Okay, but did you guys kind of feel like you guys were like now the kind of like the underdogs against demons at that time?
No, I don't necessarily feel, not that year. The year after, definitely. But that year, I felt like, honestly, like if you give me Mikey, you give me Wild Rice, I will always feel like I'm going to win. And that's just what we had. And we knew we had a good cast, and we knew guys understood, the concepts, what our schemes, and it was a matter of can we execute. And yeah.
And then 2017, that's when you guys had the new quarterback, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And so
his name is was it Lee?
Lee, correct.
Lee, okay.
Yeah, and so Lee was the safety for us. He was a young safety for us. In my opinion, he at the time he was the best safety in the game. But I knew that he had a good, decent football IQ, but he played on a high school flag football team where he was the quarterback. And so I told him in 2016, when I knew that Mike was going to leave, that I was going to transition him to quarterback. And he didn't want to at all because he's not very verbal. Like, he's more the guys where he's a jock. Like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to hit somebody. Like, just tell me what you want me to do, I'll go do it. Yeah. That type of guy. But and it's night and day because Mike is different. Mike is all verbal. Mike is the general on the field, and he I don't think he knew he wasn't that type of player, and so he didn't want to do it at all. He told me straight up. He was, and at the time he was like maybe 19, 20, if even, maybe younger. But he just told me, he was like, I would rather quit than to play quarterback for you. And I kind of had it was tough. I really had to hold his hand through that process and like teach him from the ground up with his mechanics. And like, I really had to force him for a long time to finally give him that confidence to be willing to accept that transition. And then once he accepted that, once he was open to playing quarterback, then it was about, all right, now how do I teach him these mechanics so he believes in himself? And but then I guess it was easier because I had to eliminate a lot of the playbook to mold around the new skill set of his. And so once he kind of understood that, hey, it's kind of a different offense, it's more catered to my skill set now, he started to buy in more into that transition of, hey, now I'm a leader, I'm a quarterback now. And I mean, it definitely wasn't easy.
Wow, man, dude, big props to you, man, for realizing his skill set and building on his strengths instead of, just having them, you got to play through my system. You kind of just build it around him, man.
Yeah, well, I kind of told him I would quit if he wasn't going to play quarterback. So that's kind of why he was like, shoot, I don't want to be the reason why Sid quits.
Yeah, he would have to live that one down, man.
Right. So it worked.
Oh man, dude, that's crazy. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about? I know we're kind of ahead of the game, but can you talk a little bit about losing to Villagers in 18, I believe, and then coming back to defend your title in the 19 season?
Okay. Yeah. So all right. So I started with in the transition in 2016. So after 2016, we officially went to the new quarterback for 2017. 2017, the new quarterback Lee led us to the finals again. We lost to Demons in the finals, and so that was his first finals as a quarterback. That was on the turf fields too. So it was a big moment. We lost by a conversion. We lost by a point. We scored late with under 2 minutes left, and I think we went for 2. We went for the win, and we didn't convert. And so we lost to Demons. And for the new generation of BV, all the new guys we recruited, they're more like they look up to Demons because those guys are maybe 6-7 years older than them. And so that's more of the guys that they grew up watching. They didn't really grow up watching old BV. And so when we lost to Demons in 17, they were pretty upset because that's who they wanted to beat most. And so in 2018, before we lost to Villagers, the worst, like in my opinion, I told them was the worst thing that could happen was Demons fell into our bracket. I would have I was telling them, I was like, I would rather Demons in the other bracket and see them in the final. But because they fell to us in the bracket, we met them in the semis, and and that was the Mud Bowl game. It stormed. It was just complete mud. Everyone was dirty. We ended up beating Demons in the semis, and guys were celebrating like they won. Like you can, I had a guy crying. I had to yell at him. He was crying, so happy they won, and I'm like, all right, it's not over yet because you still have to go play the finals, you know. And guys are like, they're relieved. Like you can see it on their faces, like they're relieved. Like to them, the tournament is over already, and that was the worst thing that could happen because then you go into the finals and like you come out flat-footed, you come out slow, and you just can't catch up. You're always 2 steps behind them because you know. And I mean, it was a close game back and forth. You know, Kova was elite that game, and when they needed him most, he just led the team down with ease. And he's like Aaron Rodgers. You can't leave him 37 seconds. You know, you can't leave him that time because I think that's what we did. We scored late to take the lead. Gave him like 4 minutes or so, and of course he drives it down, punches it in, leaves you like 20 seconds left on the clock. You know, and that's exactly how that went down. And so I mean, it was a learning moment from us because I mean, going from the semis and beating Demons into going and coming out slow and losing the Villagers, like that was a big learning moment for them. So Lee, the new quarterback, his first 2 years, he's 0-2 in the finals. And so in 2018, actually the transition to winning in 2019 started right after we lost in 2018. Because as soon as we lost, we went back to film. We went back to work because we knew we were going to run into Villagers in Wasso a month later. And so we went back and we changed a lot of things. We threw out a lot of things that we were doing defensively, changed it up. We added some more terminology. So more names and just things verbally that they can do to communicate. So we added a bunch more defensively. I think offensively, we changed some things up, but not too much. We just knew where we wanted to attack. But defensively, we made a lot of changes. And then we just went to Wasso and then in 2018. And then, you know, we kind of jumped on Villagers early. Like we scored maybe 3 touchdowns right in the first half. And then we kind of controlled the majority of the game. And so it started right away. As soon as we lost, you know, and then going into 2019, I think we felt really good. Like now we knew, you know, Lee having 2 years experience and all these younger guys a year older, they're now really learning their new positions inside and out. Like we felt like we weren't we weren't afraid of Villagers at all. Like we wanted to see them. And I don't know if they had the, you know, Super Bowl hangover or not. But when we were looking forward to playing them, to us it was just like it was work. Like that's what we've been waiting for. And so same with them, you know, they had that same feeling with us. So Yeah, when we played them, we actually had a bad start, but luckily for us, that entire year, for whatever reason, we had a lot of games where we were down early and we had to come back late in the game to win. So we were prepared for that moment because in the first drive, Lee throws a pick six, Villagers is up, their momentum is high, and I went right to Lee and I was like, "Hey, we're good." I was like, "We're good, man. Like we've been through this all year. It's like we're good. We got the worst out of the way. Like here we go now. Now it starts." And so, he went out and it was pretty flawless the rest of the game. And defense did a good job of containing Kova, and it was another nail biter to the very end.
What would you say? Yeah, for sure. What would you say was the difference in containing a player like Kova that following year in the 19? What did you guys do?
It wasn't so much containing, but see, Kova he's an elite passer, but when he can be mobile, he becomes even deadlier. So our thing wasn't so much about containing him in the pocket because he's just as good inside the pocket as he is outside the pocket. Our thing was getting him frustrated, like just to throw him off like his mind game. Because if we can make him sense pressure and feel like he's pressured, he's gonna get rid of the ball. He's gonna make a bad read, or he's gonna throw it earlier than when he wants to. So we just threw a lot of different things at him. So even if there wasn't technically pressure there, he was gonna feel like, hey, where's it coming from? He's gonna start to look around, get a little antsy. So that's what the intent was to kind of make him feel pressured, even if we're not actually generating pressure. So different looks, guys coming from different spots of the field, and kind of playing that chess match mind game with them.
Sure, man. It was one hell of a matchup, dude.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So
Can you talk a little bit about the Demons rivalry that you? Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I was gonna say, shoot, I forgot. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask Sid to speak a little bit about the rivalry between Demons and BV, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can really call it. Yeah, I guess it's a rivalry. We've had a lot of good games back and forth. But like I said, for me, it was two different generations. Because BV, I had my old guys playing against them, and then I also had my new generation having their own little rivalry with them. But I think what it was. And it's kind of recycled, but I'm sure they had like the core of those Demons guys probably, were gunning for BV because they were younger, we were a little older when we were at the top. And once our reign was done, they took over. And the same thing with my young guys. My new young guys were looking up to Demons the same way they probably looked up to us. And so I think that rivalry is more because, you just want to, it's your idols become your rivals, and you want to play against the best. And we had a lot of good battles between them because, we're built similarly. They had their young guys, their core guys, and they also have a good core of their veteran guys, their older guys too, that were there. And they're physical just like us, and that's just a solid team, and that's where the rivalry comes from. It's just when two good teams go at it.
Okay.
Built the same too.
All right. Let's go. Should we go on the board? We're gonna go on the board right here. All right, Josh?
Okay.
All right, man. Let's see here. We have Mike. We just asked that one. Chris says, what's the hardest team you played against and why? Sid, hardest team you guys ever faced?
Hardest team, like as a whole, it was definitely Lights Out. That's easy because their linemen, like their big guys move different from our Midwest big guys. They just move differently. and they come out headhunting. They're looking to throw bodies, like, you know.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna explain what do you mean by that, but they're like out there, like,
yeah,
like
they're
coming
out
at
there.
you.
Yeah, they're out there pissed off. They're looking, yeah. So yeah, that's the hardest individual team. But there's a lot of hard teams to defend against because of certain individual players. Like, for sure, I hated Zero with TCF is tough. Lai was tough with Bomb Squad and Team Wisconsin, because Lai he's a headache. And one of the most underrated players is Ta from Hellraisers.
All the scramblers.
Yeah, like because you have
like
to
the
account
running
for them.
quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
That's because you have to account for them. Like, usually, you can say, all right, my 6 DBs or linebackers have to contain these 5 receivers. But when you don't have to account for a running quarterback, one of your DNs now has to be, account for that. And so you almost lose a pass rusher at the same time. So it just becomes a headache. But in my opinion, Ta was, he was tough. He was tough. Yeah.
Awesome. Monge asks, which Wisconsin team do you enjoy playing against? Hellraisers, Bomb Squad, Monster, Nemesis, or Villagers?
Yeah, so man, I only played Nemesis once.
Okay.
And that was really early on, and we barely beat them. We beat them by conversion. But in my opinion, like, offensively, they were built just like us schematically. Like, I really enjoyed their offense. And I always respect a heavy quarterback. A quarterback's a little big, heavy set. That can throw it and can move. He can run. Chow, I think is his name. Okay. But he was good. Monsters too, just because they're old school. They're physical. All those, the entire O-line, all those brothers, they're just elite. Like, I did a video a long time ago on my YouTube channel, and in my opinion, Monsters, they definitely left at least one July 4th championship on the table. Like, they should have at least won one at minimum. Yeah, but man, I don't know. It's one of those two. I had a lot of battles with Hellraisers too, though. Hellraisers, they were fun to play against. No, but I'd have to either get to Nemesis or Monsters, man. They were just built differently.
So, kind of just branching off of that. I guess from like a Minnesota perspective, I guess, what was kind of your views on like Wisconsin teams? Did it always feel like Wisconsin was like the little brother, or what was your view on that?
I wouldn't necessarily say little brother, but for a long time it was only 1 or 2 teams, and you just knew that those 1 or 2 teams were like, in the middle of the pack compared to some of the elite Minnesota teams. So you knew, like, at the times, you knew that at one point it was Most Wanted and Hellraisers. Before that, maybe it was Gold Rush and Bomb Squad or something like that. And then moving forward, it became Monsters and maybe just Monsters for a while. Monsters and Team Wisconsin, and then it just became Villagers by themselves for a little bit, and then even now with Tier 1 and Villagers. But it's like you always knew it was just one of those 2 teams, and when you stack them up, you're like, all right, they fall into maybe the top 5 of Minnesota. But it just felt that way for a long time. But I mean, Wisconsin had so many teams, though. It was fun to play against so many teams. But it was just kind of it's just that those teams never stuck around long enough to develop and grow.
Well, let me ask you this, Sid, about the state of Hmong flag football in general, man. Do you think it's a sport that could be like dying out, because there's not enough teams, or is there a sport that's still on the rise, or how do you feel about Hmong flag football?
I'm kind of in the middle of all that, to be honest, because
Okay.
it's promising because I see a lot of young teams coming up, and playing like this. They have high school leagues and all that, which is really cool. But I do see often and a lot where if a team deals with one bad season or two bad seasons, they'll just quit or go merge with another team, and or all the good guys would just leave, and that kind of ruins it for them. But I'm kind of in the middle of that, where like I said, some guys just they quit and then but
how do you think Hmong flag football can get even better, like get more kids playing, to have more teams at tournaments? What do you think needs to be done in the community?
I don't know, man. It's tough because like I said, there's there's four major tournaments right now. It's Memorial Weekend, July 4th, Wasso, and then Labor Day. And so it's really hard to like fit in tournaments in between them, because teams don't really want to get hurt leading up to major tournaments. Like I've dabbled into trying to kind of put together like a short, like 8-week regular season with playoffs afterwards or something. But there's got to be some sort of alternative where guys can just show up and play their one game or two games and then be done for the week, something like that, to keep just to keep guys active in between tournaments. Like it's like a league where they can keep track of maybe even stats and records, because in Minnesota here we have a basketball league that does that. They have they keep track of stats and records, and they have their playoffs. And it's like that keeps those guys, that community, that basketball community, like pretty close together, and I think that's something that we could possibly do in the future.
That'd be such a neat idea.
If I could just kind of touch on that topic too. I know up in Minnesota, each inning they're doing like wonderful things. They're opening you guys have like a good platform, but in Wisconsin it's like tough right now because there's no more tournaments at Green Bay.
Right.
It was always a tradition, like Labor Day, Memorial Day. Green Bay was the spot, but now without that, I feel like it's shut the door on a lot of young teams, because young teams, they don't have the financial to travel to Minnesota. So like right now, there's only like 4 or 5 Wisconsin teams maybe. I know back then we used to have like 10, 15. So
that, and plus it's a little tougher because all the Hmong cities are so far apart. So like, because I've talked to some guys from lacrosse before, and they're all like, oh yeah, we used to have 3 teams, but we weren't good enough, so all of us combined into one team, and then now they have no one to play.
That happened a lot.
And then same thing with Wasso.
That's how we formed.
And same thing with Wasso too. They'll be like, we used to have a few teams, but we weren't very good, so we all just kind of joined into one, and same with Eau Claire as well. So you'll see like Green Bay and Milwaukee have multiple teams because there's just maybe a bigger population there. But just you gotta have active tournaments to have these young guys look forward to playing for.
I think that's that's one of the key thing about volleyball. Volleyball is like, it's not like a contact sport, so there's like tournaments like every weekend almost, where it's really active and players are always out there and they're always doing their thing. You can always get footages and they're always posting other stuff. Whereas in Hmong football, it's not as active. It's usually just like the major tournaments that are being played in, right? Like in between the slots there's not as many, So, and that's just due to whatever. Football is just more grueling. It's just more physical, where you can't be playing back-to-back weeks. I mean, you could, but there's a lot of people that can get hurt, and just getting everybody involved, the commitment, just the logistics and stuff,
Right.
it looks way different from volleyball as well too.
Yeah, it's harder to put together because especially when a team's like I said, you're like 30 or 40 guys deep. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to just play pickup football. You know, because you might only get like
For sure,
two
man.
teams out there max. You're not going to get enough to run like a pickup tournament. So
yeah, so yeah, man, a lot of logistics out there, but I think like you said, man, Hmong flag football is promising, man. It's so great to see all these young guys. They're so talented. They're so fast too. And some of the quarterbacks who are like throwing the rock out there, I'm like, holy crap. Like, it wasn't like that like 10, 15 years ago. Now you see kids like just fling that thing like 40, 50 yards with like no problem at all, man. It's just crazy.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent now, man. It's not long. We're not long away from seeing, Division I and possibly
for sure
beyond. Yeah.
Oh man, that's for sure, man. I can't wait till the day where we see like a Hmong D1 quarterback, man, just doing his thing, man.
Like I said, I mean, even just the size, like I said, 15 years ago, average height 5'5", 5'6". Now you're looking more like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". So
yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah. That's doable. 5'9", 5'10". I mean, you see Russ Wilson out there, the Doug Fluties, they're out there. They dominate, man. Yeah. And you see what's the Cardinals quarterback? I forgot what his name was.
Kyler Murray.
Murray kid.
Yeah.
He's little too, man. He's not that big, but man, they're fast and they could throw it, man. Let's see if anything else is on board here. Ask Sid, does he have any Packer fans in Wisconsin? He's probably talking about Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hey, are there any Packer fans on your team, Sid? On Black Venom, man? You guys give them shit?
Unfortunately, there's Packer fans everywhere. So there are.
They're like ants, man.
BB's current coach right now, he's a Packer fan.
Oh man. Dude, yeah, you know what? One thing I hate the most, man, it's Packer fans, they're just ridiculous sometimes, man. I think they've been spoiled for the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So, they don't see any other way around it, man. Let's see. Oh, Isaac said most challenging players to play against. I think you list off a whole bunch of names before.
Yeah,
just players that give you headache. Man.
Right. Like I said, so from a defensive standpoint, like I said, those mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Of course, you got guys like specifically guys like Hunter. He's a receiver, Hmong receiver. Mm-hmm. He's solid. There's receivers like Mama's Boy. Like those guys, you can kind of scheme around that though, but it's hard to actually scheme and contain mobile quarterbacks, which is a little different than just the receiver.
Yeah.
From an offensive standpoint, it's tough to challenging players like from Villagers. Specifically, it's Jeff, the defensive end, because he is his range. He takes away a lot of lanes, a lot of windows. So his impact goes beyond him just making sacks. Just his presence there and what he can take away, he does take away.
Yeah.
Just by being there. And so that's someone who you have to. It's really tough. It almost eliminates a lot of what you might want to do. And so he's one of them. And specifically like TCF. One of the local teams from here, they're all a bunch of athletes. They got some Keto guys. They've got some a lot of the Laotian guys, and they're all ballers. And they're they got range. They're super athletic. They're tall. They're long. It's like it's hard to kind of fit balls into space. You have to be closer to perfect to be able to make plays. So those are the guys that it's challenging, but those are the guys that it's more fun to play against those guys because, like I said, iron sharpens iron, so you have to play the best to bring the best out of yourself.
For sure, man. For sure, push each other. That's how the game evolves too, man. When great players are just out there. Yeah, for sure, man. Let's go with the questions, and we'll check the board right after this. Let's see.
Well, I was
Sid,
going to ask,
go ahead.
what year did you kind of step away from coaching?
Just this year.
Oh, this year, okay.
Yeah, I think like I mean there's a lot of reasoning behind it. But like with the whole COVID thing and like to be honest, like I don't know if I should even be saying it, but like I stayed. I came here to help Mike and my old guys win, and then when they all retired, I wanted to leave. So this was like 2016. I wanted to leave. I really didn't have the ambition to stay, but then we had found a few young kids, a couple young kids that we got them out of high school, and they were really hardworking. They were just their mentality was built like my old guys, and so they were like, telling me like, hey, stay, like they want me to stay to help them. And I was like, you know what, because you guys work so hard, I will, I made that promise to kind of stay and help them win. And we went through like 3 straight years of losing July 4th. And when we finally won it in 2019, like I felt like I've completed that promise. And that was like, this is my ticket out now. And then truth be told, like even this year, it was hard to stay away from BV and the team and practices and stuff. I go there and they've already found a lot of new young kids for the next, future. And I don't even try to learn their names because honestly, I'm afraid that if I learn their names, I'm going to start to like want to help them and get attached to them. And I'm going to have to stay for another 3 or 4 years. So I'm not trying to, really not trying to, commit to that again. So yeah, I think COVID and finally, was my ticket out of just, out of this game. But it's hard to stay away.
So wait, so you're retired now?
Yeah, this year.
Like,
I did not coach this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any chance you coming back, or is this pretty much it, man? You proved everything already. You're good.
I said, it's not for me. It wasn't to prove anything. It was just to help my guys win. I helped my guys win. I kept my promise, and like I feel completed. Like and this past tournament, Labor Day, a lot of the old guys came back to help the new guys, like Mikey and Wild Rice, and those guys came back. Like, and I was completely fine with just being on the sideline, man. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm good. I'm good with where I'm at.
Man, this is it right here. Hall of Famer right here, man. So
hard to stay
who's
away
taking over your spot, man?
He's an original. Been here since 2005, 2006. He's been playing all these years. He's the last remaining OG left, and he finally retired. Oh wow! Stopped playing this year, so I was like, perfect. That works out best for me. I want out. You retired, so you take over. And so,
that's good because he's been around from the beginning, so he knows pretty much what's going on. And
man, he knows the offense a lot better than I do. So they're in good hands.
Oh man. Oh shoot! It's official, man. It is done.
I mean, it's been official. I think guys have known. All these guys see me on the sideline. They know.
Okay, man. All right. So hey, when you're retired, doesn't mean like you're like okay, like don't come ask me anything. Like I'm just here as a spectator, man. Where you're retired,
no.
Like
I'm different. Yeah, I tell guys all the time. It's like open door policy, man. Like. You see me, come talk to me. I'm down to chat. Like, and I do it all the time at tournaments. I was like, yeah, come introduce yourself. Let's talk, man. I'm down to talk. If I can help you in any way, if there's any one little thing that's positive that you can take away from it, then I'm willing to have that conversation with you. So.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here, man. Sid is always open, dude. He didn't log out his computer yet, man. He's always coming back to the office, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's see. Let's go to a couple of the questions here. Isaac says, approach. What's your approach against elite wide receivers and defensive linemen? well, what do you look to do? What do you, against these elite receivers and DLs? Sid.
Yeah, I mean it kind of varies. Because at the same time, you know what they're good at as an individual, but you have to weigh in what they do as a whole. You know, there's concepts, there's schemes. Like, if they want to take their best receiver and isolate him, put him on just one side of the field, that's easy for us because we can just bracket him. Like, we'll sacrifice and we'll just double him or set or whatever, eliminate him. But then if you're gonna put him, you know, with a slot receiver next to him, that kind of changes. You can't exactly just bracket him because now instead of covering the receiver, now we have to cover maybe the field or cover a concept that might come. And so that does change things. But against elite receivers, like, I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of depending on the team. Sometimes I put the best corner on him and let him just do his thing. Or sometimes I might put the number 2 corner on him and then maybe just shade coverage on top of him. So it depends on the type of offense they run for that. As far as D-line, as far as defensive line goes, that's all scheme too. Like, if you know there's a nose that's really tough, then you have to tough to block. You have to understand, is he just shooting gaps? Can we just tandem block him? Do we have to trap block? Can we run inside? Do we have to, it's all scheme, in my opinion. So depending on, like I was talking about Jeff, like Jeff from Villagers takes away what you want to do. But because he only plays one side of the field, you can either scheme around his windows or you can just go to attack the other side of the field too. And so, there's pros and cons to it.
Sure, man. Let's see. Let's have one more, and then we'll wrap it up, man. At the end, we have a start, cut, and bench too, man. So
all right,
get ready for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Philip here says, what efforts are you going to make to get Hmong kids to take their talents to college? I think that's something we all can do collectively. But
first off, if you guys don't know Philip, Philip's friend and family of BV. He is a current Ohio State University Buckeye wrestling, full scholarship. So that's the Division I, one of the best wrestling programs in the nation.
Congrats, Philip.
Philip is there representing our Hmong people.
Man, representation, man. Thanks for doing that, Phil. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, specifically, I'm not doing anything. My efforts, nothing, to be honest. But I mean, I've tried, like, coming up through with all my kids. It was never ever about trying to get their abilities to play collegiate sports. It was always about getting them into just college in general.
Right.
To me, that was more important. Like, if your athletic ability can get you into college, that's great. But for the 98% of us that don't have that athletic ability, what can we do to just get you into college? That's what's more important to me. And so, like, that's why we've always felt like we have guys on our team that help guys with resumes. I've written so many like referral letters and like help guys with applications. Like, we do that all the time to help our young kids. And so, like I said, if you have the abilities to go to college as an athlete, then you don't even need our help. But we're more focused on the guys that just want to go to college and without that ability to play collegiate sports. I wish I could help, but I really can't help more than that.
Yeah, man. I think it is what you said, man. And Philip, you know what, man? I think a lot of the time it's up to the parents too, and just the parents exposing the kids to the world. They're look at my kid with the kid on the year can play. Everyone come check him out. Make highlights videos. I know a lot of parents. I know my brother. He posts highlight videos of his kids, and you know how YouTube works, man. Word get around. You're on YouTube, throwing down a dunk or whatever, man. It's gonna go viral. It's gonna get coaches' attention, man. So just representing yourself and putting yourself out there, first and foremost. So the talent is very deep. So the odds are against the kids, but hey, man, you're in Ohio State, man. More props to you, man. Representing the Hmong population out there, man. Let's see. Let's go with. Let's see. Dude, I'm not sure I'm cutting out. Can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. All right, so let's go with this. Which J4 championship meant to you the most? And then we'll follow that up with what's next with Sid.
Right. I'll be honest, like they all mean certain, they all have their own worth to me. Like the first one, I don't think anything will ever beat the first one, to be honest. So that's number one.
Yeah.
Just because it's the first one, and those were the goals you set out as a kid, and and number two was really good because that was the year we dedicated to Big Red, one of our players that had just come to our team, and he was really good, just a great dude in general, not even talking about sports. And he got in a big accident that he couldn't play anymore. And so that was big to be able to do that for him. And then the last one meant just as much because that was with the whole new roster. And it was a roster I had to build, like we built from the ground up. Because the first time I won, I didn't put that roster together, And so to me, it felt like I won J4 for the first time twice. I got to do it 2 different times, So they all mean a lot, but first one's always nothing's like the first one.
For sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you said what's next for me?
Yeah, what's next for Sid, man? Like, if you retire, you still gonna be involved with the game, or what do you got up?
I'll always support the game. I still try to go out to every tournament. Especially my BV guys. Like BV has become like a fraternity. Like we have freshman class coming in, the seniors graduate, we've been like that for 15, 16 years now. And so we have a lot of members that have come and gone, but I'm always involved, and we always teach at family first, and always be involved with those guys. But I love the game. Yeah, I love, it means a lot. Yeah, some of my best memories as an adult was with BV and flag football. So it's cool. But yeah, man, just want to, I got to pass the torch to let someone else take over and kind of watch from a distance. But I still try to do, YouTube videos and some stuff to kind of, keep guys active. I mean, there might be only like 3 or 4 guys I want to watch, but I'll do it for the 3 or 4 guys. So.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you know what you can do? You can start a football podcast, man.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of work. Maybe. That sounds fun, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, it seems like you still got a lot going on, man. That's for sure. Let's go through a couple of these questions on the board right here. Then we'll go with the start, bench, or cut.
All right.
And then we'll probably end it like that, man.
All right.
Let's check this out right here. Hakeem Mohammed said, favorite player to coach.
Favorite player to coach. Dang. Favorite player. That's so tough. There's so many. I'm gonna go with Gio, my current one of my current guys right now. Just because like I've literally seen him from when he was like a sophomore in high school and to now, like he just brought his wife home and they just did their gender reveal, and to see him from that process of seeing him as a young Fabi kid to now as a grown man adult and above all, he's a great guy, like one of the best players on our team, was our captain now, and like he's just a good guy. He makes everyone better. he wants the best for everyone. To
Yeah.
always want to help, but just the transition in totality, everything about it's probably one of my favorite players I've ever coached.
For sure, man. I think sometimes I get lost too. Football is the game, but just seeing some of these young guys go from boys to men too, man. It's
Right.
just that's a reward within itself.
Yeah. Yep. It is.
Sure. Let's see here. Alibaba said, "How would you game plan against someone like Wild Rice?"
Wild Rice. That's tough, man. I mean, he plays both sides of the ball, but defensively, I don't know. I mean, you gotta even a double triple team. He just kind of blows that up, but like, of course, you gotta run away from him, run the ball opposite direction. You gotta throw a quick screen, run down the middle. I mean, you gotta get the ball in the quarterback's hands because
for sure
he'll get to the quarterback. You gotta get pass game.
And then last, someone said, Alex B. Wyland says, Sid is God. Yes, Sid is, man. Legend right there.
I don't know.
I know that the Hmong community, some of those guys up in Minnesota during the July 4th tournament, they started this Hall of Fame ballot thing, man. Like they're started to nominate like Hall of Fame players, and they had like a little committee where they kind of vote on who should be in the Hall of Fame. Do you think football could have something like that one day, man? Like nominate some of the great coaches or great players like yourself and put them in some kind of Hall of Fame?
You said volleyball was doing that?
Yeah, volleyball has that. Yeah,
wow.
They actually nominate. They actually nominate, and then they'll do the presentation during the J4th, like in the middle of the tournament. They'll recognize these players from the past. Yeah. So there's actually, I think 8 members so far that got nominated. Then COVID hit, and then they stopped that for a couple of years. So they're gonna try to pick it back up.
Oh wow. I definitely think flag football has had a long enough history now, you know, 20 years now that we easily could put that in there. I mean, but before you even get to before you mentioned me, but before me, there's so many other guys before my time that are well deserving of that. So there's a lot of guys that are definitely deserving of that award. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and that's how that's kind of how the volleyball started too. I think they of course this volleyball has a long history, and there's obviously players who are, gonna make it in there, but they started off with like at least 4 or 5 that are like unquestionable. Like these are the standards right here. So those guys made it like automatically. So they kind of started that trend.
Quick little thing. So like the culture that myself and others have been trying to build with BV, like I said, it's it's a fraternity, it's family, brotherhood of many members, many years. I'm kind of inspired by MDY and how they've been together since like the late 80s, and they've got many generations now are playing, and they've always carried on that name and because MDY that's family to me too, and so I've kind of seen them come up and through the all through the decades, through the years. So that's inspired me, and that's kind of like something I'm hoping BV can carry on too for the next year.
Man, I think you guys are doing a great job of that. And it is what you said, man. MDY, they've been at it for years. They retired years ago, but their kids are picking it right back up and carrying the legacy, the name, So, and then it seems like you guys been able to do that as well too, rebuilding a couple of times. So, hopefully after you, it will carry on. And I think that's very rare. I think the Hmong once like y'all players retire, it kind of just stops. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it doesn't have to be like that. They could just continue on as well too, man. But a great team like you guys, like Black Venom, man. I mean, whoever's coming behind you guys, carrying on the legacy, man, they have to live up to the standards too, man.
Right. But I don't want to put that pressure on them, because it's okay to lose. Because it's not like BB's first 6 years was a lot of losses, and it's like
Yeah,
about what you learn from it and how you grow about it. So
for sure,
losses
man.
will come.
For sure. You ready for start, bench, and cut, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Josh, you ready?
Wait, one quick question for you, Sid.
Go for it, Josh.
Put on record. Are you the Hmong Pro Boards scout, whatever?
No, I'm telling you, I think it's Cash,
Okay.
because Cash just seems to know a lot more of the Wisconsin guys and the old guys. Like, that's definitely not me. I thought it was.
You know what? I was reading through some of that stuff. I kind of like it. It kind of gave me some knowledge about. I don't know how accurate it is, but I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. Like, they broke it down to like the tendencies of players, what they're good at, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, this is helpful. Like, there should be like a site dedicated just for this. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool.
If I do one, you'll see my name will be on it. I won't.
Yeah, I was just joking. I know it's not you. So. Okay, but we're gonna go to start, bench, and cut. So
right.
I'm not that good with like the elite. I want to keep it Minnesota for you, but I don't know if my selections are like like gonna be like a good comparison. So we'll do an offense and a defense.
All right.
I was gonna try to keep it a little bit more current.
Okay.
So we'll do offense first.
All right.
We're gonna go QB. So first one is gonna be. I know he's retired. He's your guy, so you might be biased, but I had to include him. So Mikey, Black Venom. Number 2, I got Cyril from TCF, and then Jer Lau from Plaza. But he was Demons QB during their run, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. For QB, this is only for QB.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut 0. I'm gonna start Mikey and bench Jer Lau, but only because Jer Lau can now come play receiver.
Okay, and then I wanted
You got
to
to roll quarterback, right?
Yep.
Okay, so for defense, I couldn't keep it all Minnesota.
That's fine.
But I got 2 of your guys on there. So first we got Wild Rice from Black Venom.
All right.
We got Jeff from Villagers, and we got Long from Black Venom.
I'll take Wild Rice start, and I'll cut the other 2. Wild Rice doesn't need a backup.
He's gonna be starting and the bench.
Yeah, Wild Rice. Yeah, I don't even think that was pretty easy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we got to make this tougher next time. He's going with his players. I think the quarterback was pretty easy, man. Legend right there too, man. Mike. So, well, Josh, any last question for this legend right here, man, before we let him go, man? I know.
It was just a pleasure to talk with you. So it's nice meeting you. Thank you for your time, and hopefully I see you on the field. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure, man.
Not on the field, but on the sidelines.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll have a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Sid, man, thank you for your time, man. Thank you for coming on CrossCourt Conversation, promoting the flag football community, man. We are a big fan of Black Venom, a big fan of yours, and I'm gonna stick to it, man. You are a legend, and so is Black Venom, man. Don't even underrate you guys, man. I know you got to be humble and stuff, but we're on the outside, so we can say that, man. But I'm so happy to have spoken with you and just to share your knowledge. And a lot of what we talked about today, the greatest part is that it's going to go in our archive and it's going to be here forever, where the younger generation can come and listen and learn and be a part of your journey as you explained it as well too, man. Appreciate it so much, man. Much love. Yeah,
I appreciate you guys for having me, and just for giving my Hmong Flag Football the opportunity to talk. I mean, I know it's more kind of based on BV, but just to give us this platform to kind of talk about our game a little bit. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more episodes. And yeah.
Oh man, well, appreciate it, man. Hopefully our paths cross, man. Meet each other somewhere, man. We'll drink a case or a cold one or a shot or